everybody, it is Storm here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about if Sweet was a good alpha or a bad alpha. I know that the opinions are kind of all over the place, and there's two parts that she was an alpha. The first part was in The Endless Lake, is when she first became the alpha. And I think it was Bella, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I read that last spring, I think. So, I mean, that was the first ever story book I actually read. So, but anyway, she fought for the alpha position with one of the other pack members, and she won. So she led the pack into the Fierce Dog lair, and then Storm and her brother Fang faced off, and then, she led them into the battle with the Fierce Dogs in the Storm of Dogs. And that was a really good book. It was probably one of my favorite Survivor books. But I do think that in the second The Gathering Darkness arc, I think that she definitely became very strict. And after her pups were born, it was kind of even worse. She was always just thinking about her pups, and I understand that, that might have been one of her biggest things at the time, but being the alpha, she can't just think about the safety of her pups. Even if it is one of her number one priorities, she has a whole pack to run, and especially when the Trader Dog came in, she and Lucky were just completely kind of filled with fear. And Lucky, we could talk about his character arc in a different video. But we first meet Sweet in the Long Paw Town, that right before the Big Growl and through the Big Growl. And she seems nice. She's definitely wary. She likes being in a pack. She does not want to be a lone dog like Lucky did when they first met. But she did go off in search of a pack alone for a while and was a lone dog for probably a few days. I mean, she found a pack pretty fast and then worked her way up the ranks pretty quickly. And this is all in Sweet's Journey, the novella. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm really not sure. But all that kind of happens in that side book. And it's not super, it's important to her character arc, but you could go without reading it. I didn't read it until I was probably on Red Moon Rising, which I'm currently on. And I hadn't been reading Survivors for probably a good 6 months because we had to return the book to the library, and our school library doesn't have it, which really sucks. But so we always have to go to the regular library. So I haven't been reading for a while. But I'm reading it all over, the Red Moon Rising all over again because I forgot where I was. So, but I didn't read it until Red Moon Rising, and it just kind of filled in some missing information. Sorry, my cat is trying to get my attention in the background. But it kind of filled in some of her missing information, and I think it was very important for her character arc. If you really like Sweet, definitely go check that out. But, it's not super important. I got the book for Moon's Choice because at the time Moon was my favorite character, and she and Storm are still my favorite characters. But I got the book for that, and once I read that, I was like, oh, well, I might as well read the other two because, I can. So I read that, and it was pretty good. I think I read it in a day, or maybe 2, I don't remember. But it's definitely a shorter thing than the regular books, but it's still very good, and it does fill in a lot of, I said this, but I already said this 3 times, but it fills in a lot of the missing information that from her leaving Lucky to her finding the wild pack. And I definitely think that was a major part of her character arc, because we saw why she became kind of this at first she was super sweet and kind, and she became this ruthless, or not really ruthless, the alpha was more ruthless than her, but she became the super strict, super, you need to be in line now, beta. and it really changed her character drastically. And then when she becomes alpha later in the series, she definitely tones down the aggressiveness towards the pack. And she definitely did not have, like, if we originally thought of her as the alpha, we'd be like, I don't know if she'd make a super great alpha. When we first met her, she was kind of scared and didn't know what to do, and she was kind of following orders, not really leading, and we wouldn't really expect a leadership character from the person or the dog we first met. And I think it's kind of an example of you can be anything you want to be, and I think that's a great message to put in the Survivor books. But I think that they kind of tried to take it a bit too far and tried to make her strict, but not. And I do like how she did stand up for Storm in Red Moon Rising and some of the other books in the Gathering Darkness arc, when everybody kept assuming her being the traitor dog, especially after Era left, and especially after Bruno was killed. She was the biggest dog in the pack and the most likely to be the traitor dog. And she did stand up for her, but I definitely think that I liked her character more in the first arc. It doesn't really have a name, it's just called Survivors. But I definitely like her character more in that one. And I think that the transition didn't really help much to her character. I mean, some people might like the stricter alpha, but I personally like the more laid-back sweet than the super, oh my gosh, we need to survive. And I understand that it's called Survivors, but she's just very kind of protective of especially her pups. And I like how how at the end she was like, no wild accusations. I do not want wild accusations, because of everybody's throwing Storm under the bus when she didn't do anything wrong. And I like how I definitely like how she stood up for her, but it's kind of like she didn't do anything. She just kind of made everybody more worn out and tired, which I feel like only gave the traitor dog more time to strike, and putting them in pairs only endangers everybody, for one, because spoiler, the traitor dog is Breeze, and there was a time when Breeze and Daisy were put up on High Watch together, and I was like, wait a minute, you're putting Daisy in danger because Breeze is the traitor dog. She can kill Daisy anytime she wants, especially since Daisy's a smaller dog than her, and she's taken down Bruno, who is a massive dog. So I think she kind of wasn't thinking for some of the series. She was like, how can I deal with this to make everybody stay happy? And so I definitely liked her character in the first arc better than the second. Thanks for watching. Goodbye!